Alright, so the first thing we got to do here, and I am going to do it first before anything so that way I don't forget it, is we got to change the polarity, because when you're doing the flux setup, your electrode is actually negative, whereas when you do the MIG setup, you want your electrode to be positive, so your ground is what's actually your negative. Not sure why. I'm sure it's something that it's probably pretty interesting. I could probably find out if I wanted to, so maybe if I find out, I'll let you guys know next time we use this. But either way, that's important. You got to switch that over, otherwise I know it won't work, and who knows, it might be catastrophic. So that's the first thing we got to do. That's done. Step one. Alright, so next we're going to load it up with the correct wire, because this is the flux core, and you don't use that with the MIG. So we're just going to pull the old stuff right out, use these needle nose pliers. So that's really all there is to taking the old stuff out. You know, I know there's a little bit of a waste here, but that's just the way it is. You can save this and use it for something else, whatever you want, really. Now I think my tip might be a little bit clogged here because I'm having trouble getting it out here. So I'm going to take this off here and take the tip off and figure out what's holding this up, and then we'll continue on with the new wire. Stand by. Okay, so now I got my new roll here. This is just a little 2-pound roll. It was the biggest they had, so I just bought 10 of them. But take that out. It was real cheap. It was like $2 a box, I think. Yeah, $2.25 for that. Can't beat that. And this is 0.35, which is the current size I had in there. So I just got the same size, so I didn't have to replace the tip. Take this out. Take the packaging off. Throw it on the ground. Don't pollute. And then I get this little piece of paper off here. Now I get a little bit of plastic off too. Alright. Hopefully you guys can see me. I don't have my monitor on today, so if I was out of frame there for a second, I apologize for that. So now we're going to take this out, get the wire out. What I'm going to do is you have to be very careful that it doesn't like all of a sudden explode on you, because there is quite a bit of tension on it, and it's actually pulling on my finger right now. But either way, I'm going to hold my hand on it so it doesn't go out of control. We're going to cut this bendy end off here so that's out of our way. You know what I mean? Cut that right off. Now I'm going to take it, unscrew that. That's just a knob that holds it on there, and then this little thing is what goes on there, makes it fit. That's what I had for my when I had the 10-pound roll on there. So you just put that on there like that. Put that on top. I'm gonna get this. Screw that back on. And there's a spring on it, so I mean you don't have to tighten it super tight. You know, it's supposed to be able to spin. You know. So then. Actually, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get you in a little bit closer here so you can see what I'm doing. Alright, so now one thing that I did here is you might have noticed that when I had this thing, it wants to unwind itself. And so if you let this thing spin, it will, and it's going to pull right out and get all bunched up like this, and you're not going to be happy. So the easy solution for that is just to tighten this down a little bit more so it's not able to spin. And then that way you won't have that problem. Now you'll have to loosen it up in a minute, but at least so you can get it and start feeding it through. So what you gotta do is you gotta get through this little tube right here. I'll zoom in a little bit. It's gotta go through there, and then once it goes through there, this is where you're probably gonna need a pair of needle nose. What you need to do, you know, right in here, and what you gotta do is you gotta get the wire to go into the tube there, the hose where it feeds through up to the gun. So now that I've got my my pliers gripped on it, I'm gonna loosen up the spool just a little bit, so that I can spin more easily, and then I'm going to pull some of it through and get it into there. Okay, so now it's into there, so I'm okay with that. Next thing we got to do is put a little tension on it. So what you do is you bring it down. It gets clamped between these two little wheels here. That's like, yeah, that's where those are what your eye, but the motor's attached to the other side of that. And then I'm not sure if you can see me. You push this little thing up, yeah, you can see, and that pushes down on it, and then you should only have to tighten this up just a little bit. You'll be able to tell if it starts binding up and stuff. That means it's too tight. If it's too loose, then obviously your wheel's going to slip, and you're not going to have, it's not going to feed right for you. But either way, I'm only going to tighten it up a little bit right now. We'll see if that's good enough. And so next, we got to feed it through all the way up to the gun. When you're doing this part, it is real important that you keep your gun nice and straight. I mean your cable. More so if you're using stainless steel wire, because that's a lot thicker. As is, even with the flux core as opposed to the non-flux core, because it doesn't flux as well. So you got to make sure you keep this straight out, no matter what you're doing, really, because otherwise you damage this, and once you damage that, you're done. So we'll turn it on. I only got the feed speed at about 4 or 5, but we'll go ahead and feed some through. Oh, hold on. I gotta loosen up my my spool there. I was telling you guys how I tightened it up. Now that it's loose, should work a little bit better. Turn up the speed a little bit. Alright, there you go. We got that. And then another thing we gotta do is take our little tip here. This one I cleaned up a little bit. It's the old one, but it's still okay. Put that on there. Make sure it's tight. And then put this back on. A lot of you guys in Road King's video said you actually don't have to have this on unless you're doing the MIG. But either way, I am doing the MIG now, so now we definitely have to have it on. And then that's it. We're all loaded up. We're ready to go. So let's get some metal and see how it works. Stand by. All right, let's give this a shot. I'll try to keep out of your way, but if I get in front of you just for a second, you know, keep in mind I'll be moving around, so you'll get to see in a minute. Here we go. Alright, so if you take a look at this, I'll tell you, I couldn't be more happy with it. I mean, it's working great. I didn't get such good penetration that first one right here. That's not so good, but the beads are nice looking. But I just need to go a little bit slower there. And besides, like I said, I was just going over a second time here just for the demonstration purposes. But no doubt about it, that's not going to break anytime soon. That's a good repair there. So that's about it. Like I say, that's a Harbor Freight 170 amp MIG machine. I'm real happy with it. Okie dokie tubes. Thanks for watching.